Hey guys, welcome to A Game Review. Today we're going to be talking about F1 2024 by EA Sports and Codemasters. I know I'm doing this. But anyway, we're going to talk about three things about the game that I like so far. I've tried the virtual reality aspect of it, which is VR. I've tried the multiplayer aspect of it. And of course, the newest offering from F1 2024, which is the dynamic handling system. What does that mean? I'll tell you. Anyway, first off, VR. Now, I have a pro and con on this. The pro is that it's VR. And especially when you're playing any sort of F1 game or any racing game, to experience it in VR is absolutely amazing. I'm using the Quest 2 and I'm using this on Steam Link wirelessly. And it works flawlessly, at least on F1 21 and 22 and 23. On F1 2024, I have a slight issue. Now, this could be a personal issue, but before you all start saying your hardware and your internet and you all, I am using a 4070 Ti and I have a 500 Mbps internet connection. But the issue with my VR setup right now is that while the model of the car looks fantastic and everything from my engineer and even standing close to the car looks amazing, anything in the distance is seeming a little blurrish, almost pixelated. I've tried many settings, can't seem to crack it. Now this could be, before you all start throwing aspersions, this could be that there's a new setting that F1 2024 has, which I haven't seen, and I need to switch it on or off or play around a little more with it. Because I did switch between 24 and 23, and when I played 23 it was perfectly clear at all distances and it looked fantastic. F1 2024, I'm still having that issue with the Quest 2 Steam Link wirelessly. So if anyone has cracked this, because online no one seems to have discussed this as yet, it could be a one-off issue. I will keep on playing with it. I'll also write to EA Sports and ask them about this and see where I can find a solution. But irrespective, I did play with it because I love VR, and just playing an F1 game, sitting in the cockpit, driving at 300 plus kilometers, having the cars pass you or you pass them, committing to turns, and on a steering wheel. I'm using the Logitech G29, not yet shifted to Pro Sim. Was an amazing experience. But the cons are that I've not set it up properly and I need to figure that one out. But when you do switch to the 2D, to the single screen experience, or 2 screens or 3 screens, it is fantastic because the lighting, the reflections, the way they've captured the cars, all looks amazing. The road texture, the tire, the way the tire interacts with the road is fantastic. It feels fresh, it feels energetic. These are the emotions that I'm getting while playing it. So I think they done an amazing job. It's definitely a boost up from F1 2023, but not that much, but definitely a visual boost. So if you're getting into this for the first time, you're going to love it for sure. If you've already played F1 2023, you will see an incremental jump, like buying a smartphone in a year's time after you just bought the earlier smartphone. We'll talk about that some other time. Anyway, definitely worth it on the graphics. They've done a fantastic job on that. Looks amazing. On the VR part, I'll get back to you all on that. If you all have any solutions, if anyone's facing a similar problem, please do write to me, DM me on Instagram, and I will try and get a solution from EA Sports or my IT guy. Coming back to the next thing, multiplayer. Of course, we all need multiplayer, right? Because multiplayer is another amazing aspect of F1 20, the F1 series actually. I wouldn't say there's much of a jump from the previous F1 games. They've kept it familiar, and that's always amazing because especially if you like multiplayer games, you don't want too much of it to change. So I think keeping it familiar is actually a great way to go by. So the modes are the same, you log in, the same servers, same kind of game rooms, same kind of options. Very similar to F1 23, 22 and 21 onwards. So I kind of like that. And of course, you're always going to have a bunch of fantastic drivers to interact with. And of course, there are the idiots. That will never change. That's what the magic about multiplayer is. So familiar, great. Definitely thumbs up on that. They not try to reinvent it, which sometimes can be a little jarring. And on the final thing, the handling model, right? The dynamic handling system. Now, what does that mean? So F1 2024 basically pushed out saying that this year's handling will be as realistic as possible compared to any of the previous versions of the game. Now, the verdict on that is still not out. A lot of people are liking it. Some people are debating whether they like it or not, and some people are just like, no, this is not for me. And I'll explain that to you for someone who's played the game. Now, I've been playing F1 since PlayStation 1. It was called Formula 1 back then, and of course, it was on PlayStation 1, which means it was on a console controller, right? Please don't judge this controller. And I thought it was amazing back then. But as the game progressed and actually hit the PCs, and then with VR, and then steering wheels, and Logitech steering wheels, which are more budget entry sim steering wheels, a small percentage of that moved to playing it in that space. Now, with F1 2024, the cars, especially the cars, this dynamic handling system feels very planted. No matter what mode, you could be playing with all your assist on or all your assist off, the car seems very committed to the road, which means you can fly over curbs, you can put in a little more speed, you can control it a lot easier. Now, on a steering wheel and on a sim steering wheel with the Logitech, so I'm not even gone into the more advanced sim wheels, but on the Logitech, it feels easier. It feels like you've become an F1 driver. It gives you that sense of confidence to commit to turns that you probably never would maybe in the previous versions of the games. So they've kind of made that easier, which is a good and a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing for people who've been playing this game for a long time and had to really master how much of accelerator, how much of brake, how much of curb, how much of, turning assist you need to put in there. To now there's someone coming and is going all over the place and still being able to control the car easier. I think that caters to more newer players and definitely caters to a lot more console players. So I think if you're playing on a console controller, you're going to have an amazing time. You're going to enjoy it fully. On a steering wheel, it's, like I said, the verdict's not out on that. I personally enjoyed it because I'm feeling a lot more confident to drive it now. My question out there is the new F1 cars, the real cars, that good? Because I've seen some of the drivers out there and they look really bad. I hope anyone from the F1 fraternity doesn't see this, because I really like to go and watch these races live. But that's going to be a personal debate, and that's something that you're going to have to try. But I think I know what EA Sports was going down the road for. And actually, they're going back to maybe more console playing games out here. Like the PlayStation 5 and etc. And I think that it's a lot more fun with the console controller. With the steering wheel, the rumor is that they are coming up with an update to adjust the level of input on a steering wheel, and I don't know what that means, so we'll have to wait for that update to come out. But I think it's enjoyable. I feel like it's more pivoting towards arcade game racing rather than sim racing, and I think that's fun. I personally think that's fun, because if you really want to do sim racing, maybe not everyone has a 3-screen setup and a high-end VR headset, let alone a high-end sim racing steering wheel, right? Because a basic sim steering wheel costs around, 50k onwards. If it's cheaper, please tell me, because I'm interested. I'm using the Logitech G29. But I think all in all, it's a fun game. We need to fix the VR implementation, which I need to figure out if it's my personal issue or that's a game bug. But other than that, my verdict is it's a fun game. If you've never played F1 2024, you can jump in and feel like you're a pro already. I think they've done that, and I think that's a fantastic job to bring in a lot more people into playing this game. That's exactly what Netflix did for F1 as a sport. They brought a lot of new people to watch the sport because they catered to a different part of F1. And I think maybe EA Sports and Codemasters is doing that with the game. They're trying to open out to more people rather than stress you out of trying to be a professional driver to want to drive this. I think it's for everyone, and I think that's a fantastic job out there. Yeah, love it or hate it, I think they're going in the right direction. Maybe they can do, and this is just my opinion, EA Sports and Codemasters, maybe they can do a super expert mode which changes the entire dynamics of the handling and the options and the way the car handles for those with VR headsets or sim racing gear from a professional point of view. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. That's F1 2024. Stay tuned for more games.